Casting actors, cast what a show. With Jeffrey Dreisbach, we're ready to go. From agents to gigs, learn what you lack. Tune in every week, we're bringing you back.
You've done more auditions than a casting director has said, "Thanks, we'll be in touch." It's time you got serious and learned acting strategies, audition secrets, and tips to grow. Get the Actor's Playbook for Getting Cast. Booked It by Jeffrey Dreisbach. Available right now. Also introducing Next Level Auditions, the online video course. Why not get both? Call it the Ultimate Audition Toolkit. You won't find these on sale because they're worth every penny. If you're serious about your acting career, this is your next step. This is your moment. Let's make it count. CastingActorsCast.com. Hello, my fellow actors, and welcome back to Casting Actors Cast, the podcast for actors from a casting director. I'm Jeffrey Dreisbach. And today, we are diving into one of the most important audition skills in today's industry, self-tapes. Specifically, we're talking about something most actors never realize they're doing wrong. Today's episode is called The Self-Tape Trap. Are your choices helping or hurting you? Now, let me start with something that I see every single week in casting. Actors think self-tapes are about showing how well they can act. They're not. Self-tapes are about showing how well you can be cast. These are not the same thing. And understanding that difference can change your entire booking ratio. Because here's the truth. Casting is not watching your tapes thinking, how talented is this actor? We're watching and asking, can I put this person in the project? Are they showing me how they can play the part right now? That's a casting question, not a performance question. And self-tapes are where actors accidentally talk themselves out of roles, not because they're bad, because they're trying too hard. Let's talk about what I call the self-tape trap. The self-tape trap happens when actors believe they must prove something instead of reveal something. So they add emotion, they add intensity, they add clever choices, they add movement, they add business, they add interpretation. They pile performance on top of performance until what we're left watching is not a person, but a circumstance. It's an audition. And auditions are not what gets cast. People get cast. Now, let me tell you a casting room reality. We rarely watch a self-tape and say, that was amazing acting. We very often watch a self-tape and say, that's the one. Notice the difference, because what we're really responding to is not the acting, it's the believability. Believability is the currency of self-tapes, not effort. Effort is visible, truth is invisible. Casting always chooses invisible work over visible work. So let's talk about the biggest self-tape mistakes actors make and why they quietly sabotage otherwise strong auditions. Here's the first trap: overframing the performance. Actors think the frame should show their acting, but casting wants the frame to show the character. That means a simple background, neutral lighting, clear sound, no distractions. If I notice your lighting before I notice you, the tape is already working against you. Self-tapes are not short films. They are casting tools. Here's the second trap: over-directing yourself. Actors sometimes treat self-tapes like they're directing a movie version of the scene. They add blocking, they add movement and props, camera angles. Physical business is something that I see all the time, but casting is not evaluating your directing ability. We're evaluating your castability. And most of the time, stillness is much more powerful than movement. Why? Because stillness lets us see you think. And thinking is watchable. Movement is only watchable when it's motivated. Unmotivated movement looks like, well, it looks like nerves. Here's a third trap: pre-deciding emotion. Now, this is a big one. Actors often decide before recording, this is the energy take, this is the angry take, or this is the crying take, or this is the intense take. But emotion is a result, not a starting point. When you start with emotion, it feels placed. When emotion arrives naturally, it feels real. Let me tell you, casting can tell instantly which one we are seeing. Here's the fourth trap: line readings that sound rehearsed. If your delivery sounds practiced, we stop listening to the scene and then we start hearing the actor. That's bad. That's deadly on tape. Because film and television acting is about behavior, not presentation. A self-tape should feel like we accidentally pressed record on a real moment, not like we're watching a performance you polished all afternoon. Now, here's the paradox. You should absolutely rehearse. You should absolutely prepare. But your goal is to prepare so well that you don't look prepared. Preparation should sort of disappear. If we can see it, it's too visible. So let's talk about what actually books from self-tapes: clarity, specificity, ease, presence, listening. Yes, listening, even on self-tapes, because listening is visible. Think about it. When an actor truly listens, their face changes, their eyes respond, their timing shifts, their breathing adjusts. All of this is so fascinating to watch. Listening actors are cinematic. Talking actors are theatrical. Self-tapes reward cinematic actors. Here's something most actors don't realize: casting is not watching your tape once. You might be surprised to find out. We often watch it multiple times. The first time is instinct. The second time is evaluation. And the third time is confirmation. Now listen, if your tape only works because of a fantastic surprise moment or a flashy choice, it usually doesn't hold up on repeat viewing. Make sense? But if your tape works because you feel real, it gets stronger every time we watch it. Real holds, tricks fade. Now, let's talk about one of the most misunderstood notes actors receive. And we're going to do that right after this. Welcome back, talking about your self-tapes, and something that you hear probably a lot, but it is kind of misunderstood when you hear it. When the actor gets that note that's from a director or a producer, bring it down. Have you had that? Actors sometimes think that means be less emotional, be less connected. And that's not what it means. And what happens to me is when an actor tries to do less, all I see is them thinking about doing less. See, bring it down means simply remove effort. Effort on self-tape, it reads as tension. Tension reads as acting. And when we ask you to bring it down, we're asking you to let the moment affect you instead of trying to affect the moment. Okay, somebody write that down. That was really good. Now, this is a huge difference. Trying to affect the moment is pushing. Letting the moment affect you is receiving. Receiving is magnetic. Pushing is exhausting. Self-tapes reward receiving actors. So here's a test you can try the next time you record. Do one take where you try to make something happen. Then do another where you allow something to happen. Watch them back. The second one is almost always the one that feels watchable. Why? Because it feels unforced. Casting trusts unforced actors. Unforced actors look directable. Directable actors get callbacks. Callbacks lead to bookings. Now, let's talk about another trap, what I call the perfection trap. See, actors sometimes record, I don't know, 20 takes trying to get it, quote, right, end quote. But perfection is not the goal, nor should it be. Truth is. And truth almost always happens before take 20. I can tell you that. In fact, many of the best self-takes we see of your self-tapes. Did I say that right? Some of the best self-tapes we see are take 1 or take 2. That's why I call it the 3-take rule. Decide that you're going to do that audition in 3 takes. Why? Because those takes still contain discovery. Discovery is gold on camera. Later takes often become controlled. Control kills spontaneity. Spontaneity is what makes casting lean forward. If we lean forward, you're winning. Now we need to talk about readers for a moment. Your reader definitely matters in your audition. Not because they need to be brilliant, but because they need to be real. A flat reader forces you to act harder. A real reader lets you respond naturally. So choose readers who listen, not readers who perform. You don't want a performer. You want a listener. You don't need competition in your self-tape, first and foremost. You need support. The best readers we bring in when we're doing Zoom auditions, for example, are actors who know how to serve up the dialogue to support the actor, not be actively in the scene themselves. Now let's address something actors worry about constantly. They say, what if my self-tape isn't interesting enough? Have you said that? Here's my answer. Interesting is not your job. Truth is your job. Interesting is casting's job. Editors make things interesting. Music will make things interesting. Camera angles and movements will make things really, really interesting. Your job is to be believable. Believable actors work. Interesting actors audition. Okay, somebody write that down. That was really good. Another important shift. Instead of asking, what can I do to stand out? Here's what you should be asking. What makes this character human? Standing out is a result. Humanity is a choice. Casting notices humanity faster than originality because humanity is rare. Originality, that's often forced. So let's talk about eye lines. Here's a simple rule. Stay connected to your reader, not the camera. If it's a Zoom call, don't look at the reader on your screen. Imagine the reader up and over 7 to 8 inches away from the lens of the camera. Please remember that the camera itself is your audience. The reader is your scene partner. Acting happens between people, not between a person and a lens. When actors play to the camera, we see presentation. When actors play to the partner, we see relationship. Relationship is what we cast because stories are relationships, always. Here's another self-tape secret. Casting is not judging you as harshly as you think. We are rooting for you. We want you to be the answer to our problem. We want you to solve our problems because when you're right, our job gets really easy and it gets exciting. That means we're not looking for flaws. We're looking for reasons to say yes. Your job is not to eliminate every imperfection. Your job is to give us something true to say yes to. Truth beats polish every time. Now let's talk about energy. Film energy is not stage energy. You know that. Film energy is internal, stage energy is projected. If you bring stage energy to a self tape, it often reads as too big. It's not wrong, by the way. It's just too big, just mismatched. Camera acting is about letting thoughts register, not announcing them. The lens magnifies thought. Trust it. You do not have to indicate what you are feeling. If you think it, we see it. That's the magic of camera acting. Now, I want to give you a simple self-tape checklist you can use starting immediately. Before recording, ask yourself, do I understand what I want? Do I understand who I'm talking to? Do I understand what just happened? Do I understand what's at stake? If the answer is yes to those 4 questions, you are ready. Not when your performance feels perfect, but when your circumstances feel clear. Circumstances drive behavior. Behavior drives believability. Believability works. All right, let's talk about the final self-tape principle that separates working actors from struggling actors. Working actors don't try to show casting something. They let casting see something. Showing is effort. Letting us see is confidence. Confidence is calming to watch. Calm actors feel professional. Professional actors feel hireable. Hireable actors, they get a call back. Now, listen, before we close, I want you to release one fear starting today. All right? You with me? Here it is. The fear of not being enough. Because self tapes are not asking you to be more, they're asking you to be specific. Specific is interesting, specific is human, specific is watchable. You don't need more choices, you need clearer ones. If this episode helped you rethink how you approach self tapes, then please do me a favor. Would you share it with an actor who is currently on take number 17 trying to get it perfect? And if you want more insider strategies, real world audition guidance, and practical tools from inside the casting process, then be sure to follow Casting Actors Cast and visit castingactorscast.com, where we help you prepare smarter, perform better, and book more. I'm Jeffrey Dreisbach. Thanks for listening. Now, listen, go tape something real. See you next time.
From monologues to screen tests to